head, but it went through her and hit his friend in the face, or hit his friend on the head instead. It like went through the lady, and the lady, I don't know those exact details, but I think she like left or disappeared or something like that. And the man, actually the man that was sleeping and was getting choked, suddenly got up and punched his friend in the face, and I think a small little scuffle ensued, and they exchanged stories. And the man that was being choked had a totally different story. His story was, well, I was having this great dream that I was with a beautiful woman and she was on top of me and we were doing this and that. Then all of a sudden you smashed me in the head with the butt of a gun. I guess it took a while for them to be friends again after that. Strange, right? So there's probably something to these stories of like, what are they called? Like sleep paralysis and things like that. The old hag and the Hat Man. I have a couple stories of the Hat Man and experiences and things like that. And there's story after story of these things, of those two especially. Those are the ones you hear of the most, is those two, the Hat Man and the old hag. They seem to be everywhere, probably many places at once. So these two stories come from somebody I've been emailing, and they wanted to stay anonymous, but it has to do with these things that we're talking about right here. It says, "Hi, Downbeat88. Just wanted to let you know how great of a job you're doing on your podcast." Oh, thank you. I hope I submitted my story before your first episode airs. Yes, you did. Some people have listened to a couple little things here and there that I've been recording and try to just get some feedback either way on it. And good luck on your new endeavor. I know you'll do great. Thank you. Very nice to hear. My first story is a quick one. One day I was taking care of my daughter. She was in the kitchen, and this comes from a father here. So maybe father's intuition on these two stories. And it's from the same person, both of them. She was in the kitchen and was at the age where she knew a handful of simple words like "I want" and basically yes and no and not much else. So people that have raised kids understand that it's quite common at this age for children to get frustrated when they can tell you that they want something, but they can't say what it is. And for a few weeks or months, it can drive a kid quite mad at times. This day was exactly that, in the kitchen. My daughter kept getting my attention by calling out, "Hey, Daddy, I want." And then nothing. She would just kind of trail off and think. So it was then my job to start guessing. My daughter was in the kitchen, so the first thing I think of is food and drink. She shakes her head and says, "No, Daddy, I want." And I go around and grab a few toys, and then she again says no. I pick up some of her favorite toys. At this point, she's on the verge of tears. I see her crunch up her face and scream, "No, I want." And then she looks me dead in the eyes, and the strangest thing happens. I get a crystal clear image in my mind of a multicolored hat. I know this hat. It's like a photograph. I see this hat perfectly clear in my mind. This is a hat that a family member gifted her one day by having it mailed to her house, and it's very stylish and everyone loved it. My daughter loved it. She would parade around the house with this hat on all the time. And I knew and I understood at this moment that she wanted to try it on again. I yelled out to her, "Oh yeah, I know right where that is." He didn't think it was weird. He just kind of yells that right back to her. I knew it was in her room hanging on a coat rack. I quickly run and bring it to her, and she shouts out in joy, "Yes, yes, thank you," and a little celebration takes place. I know for a fact that at that moment our minds connected. So yeah, that kind of reminds me of the guy at that festival, right? Where the first story where the guy kind of like says like, "What are these things?" And the person sees like light ups and, "Oh, what do you hear? Do you hear that?" And then they start hearing these things. So what if that's more normal than, people kind of think, what if that's not out of the ordinary? What if that's not paranormal? And what our everyday life is right now is more strange than that. So he keeps writing here. Again, this is later, I guess like a couple of years later. So one day I'm in another room and my daughter and her mom were talking about a girl in her class. At this time she's in elementary school. I knew this girl that they were talking about. And I'll tell you what I heard and then we'll finish the story. So what I heard, and he's like quoting, so I'm quoting him and then he's quoting what he heard. We'll just say her name is Ariana. Ariana copies me all the time. Whatever hairstyle I wear, the next day, Ariana comes in to class with her hair done the exact same way as me. And then me listening from the other room, I'm And this is what he says. So I thought that was weird. So I exit my room and I ask my daughter, does Ariana really do that? She goes to school the next day with whatever it is you're wearing for a hairstyle as her hairdo the next day? That's weird. My daughter comes up and looks at me and gives me the strangest look and kind of tilts her head to the side and says, no, I didn't say that. I was thinking that. What I did say is that she does copy me and that she copies me on a regular basis. I didn't say what it was. And at this point, the guy kind of looks for confirmation from the third person in the room, which is, the mom there. And she says, yeah. And she confirms. And he's like, what's going on with these things? Like, this, if somebody's thinking something in the back of their head, are we hearing these sometimes as words? I don't know what to think of that. I wish we could control that more, but it just seems to be a hit and miss type of thing, or really high emotion. It doesn't sound like the girl in the last story there was like super emotional about it. She was just kind of explaining something, and he heard what his daughter was thinking about it, like the details, when she was just kind of saying a generalization, and he thought he actually heard the words different than what she spoke out loud. And then the mom confirms it, so he's not wrong, or the daughter wasn't wrong. Weird, right? I wonder if that's like a sense of instinct as well, which kind of lead me to the last thing, where what I said at the intro, where a lady started hearing her dog barking. So this story comes from a lady taking a shower, and I think she was home alone with one dog. And while she was in the shower, she heard her dog going almost like bonkers at the door, like where, like barking at the door like crazy. The lady lived alone, or she was home alone, and so she shut off the shower because she thought she had to take care of some issue or some problem or someone at the door. And then she started to hear the barking change. She goes, what she heard was, don't worry, no one's at the door. It's not a big deal. All I want to do is go outside. Just let me outside. That's all I want. And no one's here. Don't worry about it. Like almost like that. She described it as, and she like kind of half steps out of the bathroom or something. I think she yelled out, "What?" if I remember the story exactly right, it was something like that. And then she heard the barking just go back to like barking and barking, and she was like, "Oh my God!" So she evidently, she put a towel on and let the dog out, but. I mean, how weird is that, right? I don't even know what to think of that. That's kind of freaky and creepy a little bit. So that would be it for today. I'm planning on doing more of these podcasts with a lot of stories. I'm gonna get into things in the sky, UFOs, hovering airplanes is a thing, different cryptids, all kinds of things strange. I don't want it just to be like ghosts and haunted houses and scary things, but just all kinds of things. There's so many out of the ordinary things that can be discussed and that are happening recently that it's a plethora of things to pick from. And I have many stories like this, and I can put my own experiences and people close to me experiences into just about any one of these. So hope you all enjoyed. I'd like to thank everybody for checking out the podcast. Remember to click the RSS feed so you can be notified of everything. My Patreon is ParadoxWalk, so just Patreon / the word paradox and walk, like you're walking down the street. The music has been Downbeat 88, all one word, like downbeat, and then 88, like 88 miles an hour, 88 piano keys. Be sure to check out the next podcast come in. It should be weekly or bi-weekly, so thanks a lot and hope y'all enjoyed. Have a good day. Bye.